Welcome to the Breast Cancer Conqueror podcast that features wellness warriors who've had a powerful impact in the world of health and happiness. Hi, I'm your host, Dr. Véronique Desaulniers, better known as Dr. V, and founder of BreastCancerConqueror.com and the 7 Essential System. I'm thrilled and honored to have you with me today. My goal for creating this podcast is to provide you with information about various healing modalities and facets of creating vibrant health so that you can make an informed decision about your body and your health. My passion is to empower women around the globe to live their best life through healing of body, mind, and spirit. My team and I are so honored to have reached women in 40 countries and counting. I'm excited about our lineup of guests and the powerful information that they will be sharing with you. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the podcast and share this with your friends and family. Welcome everybody to another podcast of Wellness Warriors. Today I'm really excited to be able to introduce Dr. Robert DeMaria. I actually met his wife at a thermography conference, and we found out that we were both in Naples, and he also has a clinic in Cleveland, Ohio. So we connected, met for tea and at Starbucks, and really love his work and what he's doing. Dr. DeMaria is a chiropractor by profession, but he's done some amazing things. He's been in the wellness industry for over 40 years. He specializes in spinal engineering, natural orthopedic treatments. He's also known as the Drugless doctor. He founded this practice in Naples and in Cleveland. He's written 10 books, right? The next one coming out is The Drugless Guide to Mental Health, which I can't wait to read. So thank you, Dr. Bob, for taking time to be with us today.
And thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Good. So I found it very interesting. Here's a man who's written a book on balancing female hormones. And so my first question to Dr. Bob was, why the interest in women's health and women's hormones?
Well, I met my wife when we were 15 years old, and we got married when we were 21 years old. And I transitioned, when you find somebody when they're 15 years old and you can transition with them for 50 years, you'll learn a lot. And when my wife hit around 30 years old, our life really changed in the fact that we just had our second child and she had dysplasia on her cervix. And our life changed because of that.
Wow.
And when she was a kid, her aunt was the wife of a medical doctor. And she lovingly gave my wife a drug called acromycin V in suspension, which was used back in the 60s for acne. And then my wife was on the pill. We had a first child, no more pill. Second child, went for a PAP. And they said she had dysplasia in the cervix. Now, this is before Dr. Bob was anything what I know today. I have learned a lot. So Debbie, and I have to really congratulate her, we basically changed our life. And over time, within a year, her dysplasia was gone. So for all the ladies watching us right now, and they wanted to do a lot of procedures.
Right.
It was a family friend. A family friend was her OBGYN. They basically wanted to do cryosurgery, snip and tuck, and she probably would end up having a hysterectomy, and Lord knows.
Yeah. And
her mom had breast cancer when she was in the 8th grade. 1968, and it was because her mom was on Premarin, which was, the beginning of it. So, when you have somebody that's in the 8th grade, mom loses her breast, all this stuff, imagine what goes. So I lived that. And not that my wife was depressed or anything, but I know there are women watching us right now. And with the information that I learned from being married, ladies trusted me. I had to write the book.
Right. So what's the current state of affair of women's health right now? I mean, our community is very focused on breast cancer, and of course we, talk about hormones and the stressors that affect women's hormones. So what's the state of affairs for women's health in general now?
I think we're living in a very toxic environment. Mm-hmm. I've heard this statement. I did not coin this, but we're living in a sea of estrogen, and there are different tiers of estrogen. When you're younger and you're having your menstrual cycle, and you transition to having babies, and then as you transition to no longer having babies, still having maybe a menstrual cycle, we are exposed to too much estrogen.
Yeah.
And when we have that estrogen, it creates tender breasts and heavy menses. And if you don't take care of getting to the root with that and really addressing it, you are going to have challenges. So we work on balancing that aspect of health.
Okay.
Female hormones, getting the liver under control.
There you go. There you go. So we know that the chemical estrogens that we're all exposed to can certainly affect not only women's health, but also men as well. So what role does the liver have in all of this, in balancing the hormones?
Well, the liver is the key to everything. I actually wrote a book, Dr. Bob's Drugless Guide to Detoxification. And what I'm going to show everybody right now is a very interesting model of a liver. So right here, this is a normal liver. Let me just actually show you what a normal liver would look like. So this is a normal liver right here. And what I want you to see is this is where the gallbladder is at right here. And there's a blood vessel that comes up through the liver and it goes to the heart. The blood flows through the liver to the heart. The liver is the key to everything. And the liver has hundreds of functions. But I think as a female, the liver is what processes the estrogen. And what I have seen is that most women have, our average patients between 37 and 43 years old, they've had 2 children. They usually have their gallbladder out. They're on an antidepressant, and they have heavy menstrual flow, and they want to do ablation to them. And they usually cry easy. The cry easy is a B vitamin need. The heavy flow is a compromised liver because of having children. And I could go through the story back in 1994 is when I started noticing titanium clips on especially male patients, where they took the gallbladders out. Before that, they would sew them up. And then what I started noticing, especially on male patients 4 or 5 years later, they had heart surgery. I saw the chicken wire in their chest. And that's because the liver makes bile. Bile is your quote unquote dish detergent, and the gallbladder is the reservoir. And when they take your gallbladder out, they're taking your bottle of soap out.
Yeah.
You're not going to have good fat metabolism. You're not going to process estrogen. So when a lady comes in and has a gallbladder out, I really very lovingly sit down and I talk to them about, this is what I've seen. This is where your journey's going. You change the journey, but this is what you're going to want to do because your lifestyle is not going to sustain you. And there's some things that I've learned that really aggravate this liver. And this is probably the most, the statement I'm going to say now is hard for a lot of people to accept. The leading cause of an enlarged liver is fruit. We don't promote fruit. And that's tough. But people love fruit. They love their smoothies. They love blueberries. You know, before I did this program, I'm sauteing some onions, mushrooms, some cruciferous vegetables, spinach, and water chestnuts. When I'm done, I'm going to eat that. And I eat food that helps promote liver function.
Yeah, so important. So important.
Not sugar.
Now you mentioned titanium clip. So the first thing I thought of was titanium clip in women's breasts. You know, after they do a biopsy, they don't even tell them. They put this little titanium clip in their breast. And then that made me think about mammography and then thermography. So you recommend thermography as we do. And so explain to our community why thermography is so important.
Well, it's really interesting because I can go back and I can go right back to the moment I was in college and I was in an x-ray class. And the instructor said something like, there's certain times in your life you never forget because it's always a test question. Like when you're in school, you always think, is that going to be a test question? So he said this point. He said it takes a 40% change of a structure to show up on a film or x-ray. Well, see, mammograms are x-rays. So that means it takes a 40% change of a structure, i.e. your breast, before it's really going to show up. Thermography is a measure of function. And this is a real key sentence. Cancer cells' abnormal function really needs a blood vessel. Blood vessel is heat and altered temperature. So we know that thermography will reveal to us patterns. And I think Dr. V, the biggest thing I have seen, there's two things I have really helped so many women with breast thermography. It's all based on patterns. Like when I look at a heart sound recorder, the heart makes noise, there's vibrations, there's patterns when you need to be vitamin. Well, there are patterns on thermography when an individual has breast cyst. When we see breast cyst, and I write about this in my book, Dr. Bob's Guide to Prevent Surgery, and I really have been blessed to learn this. The modern day scurvy is lack of iodine. Scurvy, for those of you who don't know, was a condition, lack of vitamin C. They did not discover the vitamin C until 1943. It's a lack of vitamin C, and English sailors were dying of scurvy. The modern day scurvy, this is huge. I'm going to win a Nobel Prize for this. It's lack of iodine. Lack of iodine.
Yep.
So ladies, I have all of my female patients put clear liquid iodine on their breast, and I also have them put it on their lower abdomen for their ovaries. So we see that fibrocystic pattern on our thermography. And the next thing I see on thermography I get so excited about is congested armpits. If your armpits are congested, your liver is compromised. And it goes for we have the breast, lymphatic, liver loop. So if your breast drain into your armpits drain into your liver. If your liver is compromised, especially after having baby number 2, tender breasts, heavy menses, cry easy, and we correct, we can confidently correct that, and it's duplicable. If a woman's ready to change, we have a protocol, increases breast health. Isn't that like tremendous?
It's amazing. It's amazing. So tell us your protocol. What do you recommend to your patients?
Okay, so first, there's so many different things that we do. So when somebody comes in our office, we always do an initial assessment. And then over time, we will do, so this is just a regular new patient coming in. We'll do an OptiChem profile. Most women will have subpar thyroid function. Not all, but a lot. Well, I also know, and this is going to be a key foundation for my book on mental health, there is a protein called tyrosine. It's an amino acid. Tyrosine is the main building block for adrenal hormones. So when a woman is under stress, women are under stress because if they're married, they've got lots of responsibility. I am successful because I married Debbie. Comes to the bottom line. She thinks for me. So if a woman's under stress, they cannibalize their tyrosine. Well, tyrosine and iodine make thyroid hormone. So when I have a woman come in that has low thyroid, and if I talk to them about cysts on their breast, I know they really need iodine because the iodine is cannibalized by bromine, fluorine, and chlorine. So my whole protocol is if a woman has tender breasts and heavy menses, we support liver function. As simple as bouncing on a ball 15 minutes a day. We use the castor oil pack, which is castor oil, put on wool flannel, and you apply it underneath your right breast, put a heating pad on top of it, 45 minutes. That promotes optimal liver function. If they have cysts on their breasts, we will have them apply clear liquid iodine, both breasts, the entire breast. I want you to know this. Larger breasted women have a greater potential to have subpar thyroid function, and I've seen it with patients. I've had 2 sisters, for example, came in. One was kind of short, larger breast. Other one was tiny, petite, smaller breast. I had a harder time getting the larger breasted lady to improve thyroid function because her breasts were taking away all the iodine.
Mm-hmm.
We also see that with cysts on the ovaries. We have learned over time that increased sugar will cause inflammation. Once ovary gets a cyst, the cyst creates testosterone. This is what an ovarian cyst would look like right here. And so we know that if it's all this big cycle, we have to get that liver to process the estrogen. We want to make sure if you're swimming in a pool or a hot tub, you have enough iodine in your body. We will supplement with iodine. We'll do the urine iodine loading test to see how much iodine you have in your body. And we also will use a homeopathic remedy to help support lymphatic flow. And we also use a product that has larch gum in it that also supports lymphatic flow. We do the follow-up based in 3 months. I'm not going to tell you every time all the breast cysts are gone, but if a lady takes care of it and listens to what I'm telling them to do, within a year, we can reverse breast health. And the nice news is women will tell me that their breast health, they're softer, they're not as tight, the fibrous cords go away. Pretty cool.
That's pretty amazing. Yes. Love that. Love that. Because so many women have been told by traditional medicine that, you know, you're stuck with dense breasts, or all those cysts in your breasts are normal. And we know that that sort of thing is definitely reversible with some protocols that you mentioned, getting that lymph, that liver, the iodine, the nutrients that the breast tissue needs. So that's awesome. All right, so the one food that women should stay away from
I
is,
think, well, everybody should stay away from sugar,
yes.
because sugar definitely will compromise function. And I really want women to be aware that soy might not necessarily be the best. I have to really tap dance around this because we have a lot of plant eaters only. Great source of protein is quinoa, red quinoa, kale, pumpkin. We use pumpkin and pea protein in our practice. But sugar by far, and you have to really, this is new too, you have to be really aware of the fruit. I'm not telling people not to eat fruit. I eat a half an apple a day. Everything else I eat is vegetables. I'm not a vegetarian. I eat organic meat, but I don't do fruit. I don't do ice cream. I don't do cottage cheese, because that's all will congest. Dairy products will congest and compromise the lymphatic system. Pretty amazing, all this, and everything is tied together. Can I just throw out a couple other little tidbits that will help the ladies?
Absolutely.
There's something called cherry hemangiomas. Cherry hemangiomas are these little red bumps that appear in your body. They appear in your body when your liver is compromised. Now, I have a degree in chiropractic, and I also have a doctor of natural health degree and a degree in spinal engineering. When films transition from the way we took them with an analog x-ray to digital x-ray, a whole new world opened up to us. And because of the sensitivity and the quality of a digital film, we started seeing fatty livers. And I have seen, and this is kind of amazing, I've seen livers shrink 4 or 5 inches. And I have many individuals, but one particular came to my mind. Unbeknown to me, she had her gallbladder out. Now, I don't browbeat people if they get their gallbladders out, but she was a patient, and she wasn't paying attention to the principles. They're not Dr. Bob's rules. I mean, water freezes at 32 degrees. I don't care if it's Dr. Bob or, Betty Louise. It's still going to freeze at 32 degrees. Well, I really thoroughly convinced her post-operation she needed to, and there's a protocol post-operation for gallbladder. I'll get back to that. Well, she finally listened to me. Her Dr. V, her titanium clips, they went up 2 inches. You can say, what do you mean they went up 2 inches? That means her liver went back to normal and the little clips went with it. So I talk about this in chapter 10 of my book on female hormones, not the clips moving, but this pattern. And here's the pattern. 2 babies, liver gallbladder distress. You could have right knee pain. That's an acupuncture point along the right knee, right shoulder pain, and something else when you have gallbladder distress. You have bloating 2 hours after you eat. You have digestive distress. All of you are going to want to go back and listen to this, by the way. Radishes, cucumbers, onions, that's a gallbladder issue. So if somebody comes in, I say, hey, how do you like radishes? Oh, I hate them. They bother me. In Italian, we call it agita. Well, I know they have liver gallbladder issues. So let's say they had their gallbladder out, because I alluded to that. What do? There's 3 things you choose to do forever and ever and ever. And one of them is you want to take some bovine bile when you eat a fatty meal. Because see, if you eat a fatty meal and you don't have a reservoir of bile anymore, that means they took your bottle of soap away. You better put a little soap with the food. Because if not, your blood vessels are going to get accumulated with fat, and your liver's not going to process everything at quality. And you're going to have a great chance to get a heart attack. That's what happened to the guy in 1994. My first clip, he had heart surgery 5 years later. So people who have the gallbladder out have a greater chance to have heart problems. But see, the game has changed. I was lucky by the grace of God to learn this, because they don't open up chest anymore because they put stents in. So I have been fortunate to see this pattern. But the next thing I'm going to share with you, even more amazing, is that when I started seeing these titanium clips, the vertebra at L1 and L2, because I'm a chiropractor, Dr. V's a chiropractor, I started noticing these rotations, subluxations at L1 and L2, probably 80 to 85% of the time, the people had the gallbladder out. So you could have chronic low back pain with the gallbladder. And that's even more amazing is the nerve L1 and L2 go to the ovaries. So if I have a lady that comes into the practice and they say 1 month I have a headache and 1 month I don't have a headache, I know they have an alignment problem in L1 and L2. It even gets better than that because that's the same spot where you go poop. So if you're constipated, you have cold hands and cold feet. Isn't this like so cool that I've been able to figure all this out? You got to read Dr. Bob's Drugless Guide to Balancing Female Hormones. That's 42 years of experience and 40 plus years of marriage, 44 years of marriage.
It's amazing. We're so connected in so many ways, right? It's just the body is wonderfully made. So if there was one parting word of wisdom or a few words of wisdom that you would like to impart to a female community that is perhaps involved or struggling with breast cancer, what would you recommend?
I would say the first thing you want to do, obviously, after you have your breast thermography, you want to make sure that your armpits are not congested, because I know that that means your liver is functioning optimally. I would do that first and foremost. I would primarily focus on non-starchy green vegetables. I'd minimize fruit. You'd want to go to a skilled chiropractor, have digital films taken of your lumbar spine so you can literally see the size of your liver. You're going to want to also have a thyroid test done, including a TSH, a T3, and a T4. You may go so far as to have a urine iodine loading test done, because that'll tell me how much iodine you do or you don't have in your body. The term, and you can write this down, it's called apoptosis. A-P-O-P-T-O-S-I-S. Do some research on it. Apoptosis is limited cell life. And that's what iodine does for the breast, along with vitamin D. And you may consider some type of simple cleansing program. I want everybody to eat Dr. Bob's ever famous ABCs are half an apple, red preferred, beet fiber, carrot, and a radish. If you do that, minimize alcohol, cut back on your dairy, you're going to go a long way.
Awesome. Great information. Thanks so much for taking time with us, Dr. Bob.
And thank you for listening.
Yeah, it's been great. You've got lots of experience between those 2 years.
Thank you so much.
All right. So this is Dr. V sending you a big healing heart hug. Till next time on Wellness Warriors Podcast. Bye for now.